Happy May the 4th be with you. Chuck the Comic Guy here with episode 2 of the Chuck the Comic Guy podcast. It is Monday, the 4th of May, which is an important date for people that are Star Wars fans. And that's why I'm doing this one a little earlier this week. So, with that said, here we are. I think I cleaned some stuff up from last week. I redid the intro, and this is the somewhat improved podcast. We'll see how it turns out. Last week, small discussion, just intro to the show, was Resident Evil trailer, free comic book day stuff, previews. So let's just cover May the 4th real quick. I shouldn't say real quick because it's a pretty important day. Star Wars fans. I myself am a Star Wars fan, but I'm not a super fan. There's kind of like these different tiers of Star Wars fans. I wasn't of the generation when it was like the new thing. I was, just right before Return of the Jedi. Or was it Empire Strikes? No, Star Wars, Empire, Return of the Jedi. I was between those two, the last two. So that just goes to show how much I know about Star Wars. But I've watched all the original trilogy. I've watched the prequel trilogy. I did get caught up on all main 9 films, and then a couple in between films like Rogue One, and which, I mean, they're all great films. My gripe is that in the 90s, the late 90s, George Lucas decided to redo the first trilogy and CGI'd everything because he knew he was going the route with the other 3 films. He wanted to make sure everything was just kind of like even keel when it came to the cinematics and the special effects. And there was this whole thing back in like mid to late 90s when they had the VHSs you could buy. They had the original everything to them. Jabba the Hutt hadn't been CGI rendered and all that, that stuff that just kind of, to me, desecrated some of the value of what's the remakes. But so anyway, it was a big deal if you get your hands on any of that now. I mean, there was a lot of it back in the day, and then it just kind of like kaput, now it's all just DVD and Blu-ray and CGI. But so I'm a fan. I'm not obsessed with it like some other fans, and that's fine. If you want to be obsessed with Star Wars, that's completely up to you. Everybody's got some obsession that they have to, it gets them through, tough times or whatever. So, yeah. And, but yeah, I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed the films. I liked the lore, I liked the story and the plot and everything. And it was just, as a kid, I wanted to watch it really bad. And then I watched it and like, okay, like move on. So that's my Star Wars fanaticism, I guess. So, happy May the 4th to people who are celebrating right now. I know there's a lot of them, and I know quite a few diehards too, and I'm not going to judge them for whatever it's worth. But so anyway, carrying on, Free Comic Day was just Saturday the 2nd, so I had some early morning, midday plans, family stuff that I could not like hit it hard right immediately. When the doors open at my local comic shop, there's a place that's pretty close by that's more of like the newer stuff that you can definitely rely on them doing free comic day stuff. The comic stores, I'm in Michigan, Detroit metro area, and they're really kind of like either you find a store that's just got nothing but old stuff or nothing but new. And so Comic City is one of those mostly new stuff that just kind of keeps with the current trends and doesn't really carry any back issue stuff. Not within like the last 6 or 7 years is where they pretty much taper off at. And then there's a couple of places that I enjoy that have like a mix of everything. But for guaranteed knowing you're going to go in there and get at least like new releases and stuff. And I've, I've been like a back issue guy more or less. I couldn't really embrace the newer stuff, like past the 2000s releases. Like, I kind of lost my love for comics for a minute, like after the mid 90s kind of hit a point where the art was kind of different and the design was a little bit different. I wasn't a fan of some of the aesthetics they were adding to comic books at that point and how it was kind of being printed, and just it lost some of the nostalgic feel of the old school of comics that I grew up with. So I took a sabbatical on collecting anything new, and I've kind of started embracing all comics, all eras, and different like different feelings for each. I like some of the newer stuff. I don't love it like the old stuff. And so, but there's certain comics that I'm going to probably do a podcast when I get video to kind of go through the aesthetic and the visual things that appealed to me when it comes to comics. And that's just me. And it might be a lot of other fans, people my age, that could feel the same way. So yeah, we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. So, but Free Comic Book Day, I did go finally later in the afternoon, which was probably better. When I went in there and I talked to the clerk that was behind the desk and asked, how the day turned out, it was really wild in the morning, which you would expect, when it opened up. And it was kind of like finding parking when I got there around 5-ish. It was still a little rough, but got in, found the big table, and there's a lot more free comics than I kind of seen floating around online that were going to be, were kind of previewed. I did walk away with the Energon universe that had Mask and other things that were happening in Energon, G.I. Joe, Transformers, the Street Fighter Forever, both the Sonic the Hedgehog issues that were just like a standalone one, and then one that he crossed over with DC with like Batman and Superman and all that. And I've actually have been in Walmart and seen that they've got like little action figures that have the crossover. So it's kind of like this thing that kind of ties in the toys and the comics. It's just kind of trying to appeal to both brands. So, and I missed out on getting Dungeon Crawler Carl. That's going to be fun to say anytime that comes out. There was like, it seemed to be, I don't want to say that like a winner, but it seemed to be the overwhelming favorite for Free Comic Book Day was that issue people wanted to get their hands on. And it looked, the cover design was really cool, but I don't think like a lot of stores ran out of those pretty quick. So, and now people are flipping them on eBay, or they're trying to like entice people through Whatnot or whatever to, hey, we've got it, so come get it. And it's like a big deal now. And a lot of comics kind of, I think this is like I wouldn't say the first year, but this is becoming the more noteworthy year where like more people are starting to pay attention to, I bet we can make a quick buck off of these free things. And I've seen previous Free Comic Book Day comics that just kind of get thrown into like auctions, or they're here, I got this, I'll sell to you, whatever, I got it. And it's not a big deal. But now it becomes like, after this year seemed to be more of like Pokemon taking over, like the way that Pokemon took over the card market. It seems to be kind of becoming like the investors market for comics now, where it's like, well, they can't get their hands on Pokemon, what else could they ruin for people? So yeah, I think that's what's kind of taking place. So people are kind of getting a little bit more privy, and it helps the comic book market and helps comic book stores or anybody, but then it also kind of hurts it, because now it becomes like the kids or whoever, adults that enjoy stuff like that, it kind of ruins it for them, because they just want to be able to spend their money fairly on and stuff. And it doesn't hurt to invest into a little bit of it, for like a rainy day fund or whatever. If you like buy a first issue of something that's popular, and then you just, if you want to slab it, if you want to just keep it nice and pristine and set it aside, then if you get in a pinch, you can always do whatever with it. But so that's what I grabbed, and there's a limit. Most stores have limits to what you can grab at Free Comic Book Day. I've seen people that just like got almost everything free, and I think that I probably could have gotten away with that myself. It seemed like the store clerk, they had so many issues they were going to have to do something with. I went back the next day, and to a same the Comic City I am mentioning is also like a chain around the Metro Detroit area. So there's like 3 or 4 of them, and I went to another location just because they're both kind of equally distanced for me. And I asked, do you have any of the free content? And they're like, nope, we already put them away. Which I kind of have to wonder what they do with them. I mean, like, where does that stuff go? Because there's a lot to have to get. I don't know where they're going to put them. Honestly, they're probably just going to resell them somehow or put them. I don't know. But so I ended up reading the Energon universe already, and the Mask was like I grew up with Mask when I was 5. That was like when it was a big deal, or 5 or 6 ish. Like I think I was in first grade when I was really, really diehard about Mask action figures in the cartoon, but I don't remember much of anything detail related to it, like the names. I don't think I was really paying attention either back then. I was just kind of like, ooh, here comes a Camaro and a 57 T-Bird or whatever. And so it has like a special place in my heart, I guess, to some extent, for how like that was my first early action figure experience was Mask, and a couple other things like Transformers, like mostly what Energon's promoting through their universe in the comic world. So really hitting people in the fields there. And I read it, and it's kind of going off the IDW. So if this is your first time learning about how Mask is being rolled out through the Energon universe, there was the cartoon, and the character names are all the same. The vehicles are pretty much all the same. They didn't really change anything aesthetically about the characters except for Matt Tracker, which in the cartoon, he was a blonde, middle-aged millionaire, and he formed Mask with all his money, and it was very much like Bruce Wayne, but in like an action force with cars thing. And then IDW kind of took over later on, and the comic book world in like the 2000s, and they got a hold of it, and they wanted to make it a little bit more, I don't know, not so cheesy 80s. So they would kind of like made it more street level, and they they decided to race swap Matt Tracker. I hate saying that, but that's just, I mean, they made Matt Tracker a person of color, a younger guy. There's a cop, more grittier and more from the streets. So it was kind of, and honestly, I think that's probably for the better, because Matt Tracker, the original guy, I don't like, there's certain things I guess you just are like sacred. You shouldn't aesthetically change them or change their design or whatever based on what they appeal to or whatever. But then in this case, I don't really care. Like, there's certain, like, Nick Fury is Nick Fury now. We know it's Samuel L. Jackson, like the old eye patch guy from the white guy that should have been David Hasselhoff in the 80s. Really, it was like kind of almost what it was themed to, like. That guy's like almost long gone at this point. Samuel L. Jackson has carried the role well. The new Matt Tracker, even from the IDW version of things, I mean, a much better fit for the story. It's some white rich guy, some white pasty rich guy. It's just with a blonde hair, like, ooh, that's the 80s for you, right? And so it definitely gives it a little bit more, I think, more street cred, being like a little bit more of like a task force, whatever it is. So that's what this iteration of Mask is doing, is they're going from like basically the older, like the earlier 2000s model. And from what I read, it was, I liked it and it was decent. It's just kind of like a very like small story. But they pretty much, like, the money shot is the Camaro, the Thunderhawk, as it's referred to, really is that's the vehicle's name, is the Camaro. It's an iRoxy Camaro. And that was, like, to me, the coolest thing about Mask was the cars, because they actually used, like, authentic looking cars instead of just making their own models. It's like they had a working with a tie-in with GM or whatever. And so in the planes, but at the same time, when I was a Mask fan, I was also a Road Warrior fan from like Mad Max. So I had the vehicles, and I would be watching Road Warrior with my Mask toys, being like trying to emulate the movie, and they're slamming each other. And the action figures back in the day were so, like, they were cool and awesome, like, but they didn't have very much. The figures were so small, they didn't have much detail. They're very much like the GoBot figures as well. That was the other one I was trying to think of earlier, was GoBots, because Transformers and GoBots are kind of like at the same time. But so But yeah, they like fell apart really easily. He lost parts and pieces and weapons to him all the time, and that was the rough thing about mask action figures and toys. But yeah, the Rhino was another one that Matt Tracker drove. Mayhem is the main villain again. I mean, it's basically just trying to carry on the legacy of like what everything Energon's doing with their universe. So that was cool. I've not had a chance to read my other free stuff yet. I kind of went back. I also bought some Dork issues, just like some reader copies, because I'm trying to keep some of them in nice shape and just not open them, and the other ones like just to read. And I'm caught up to I'm past issue 3 now, so I'm waiting for issue 4 on Dork, which it's fun. Like it's an easy read. Honestly, anybody can read it and pick up on the story and understand it. There's some comic books that are like sometimes a little bit like too all over the place, and the story is just kind of like bouncing around. And I'm fine with either or, but if you want someone that like, if you're just getting into comic books or you're trying to get someone into comic books that's like not really appealed by them, I would recommend Dork just because it's just super like you breeze right through it, and the story is easy to pick up on, and the characters are quirky and funny and silly and zany. So, and I'm just a big nerd like that. So, also picked up and the thing about Free Comic Book Day, I want to make sure I like emphasize here is that it's not just about getting free books. It's about going in there and supporting your store, and while you're there, spend money. I mean, like, you might as well take advantage of the situation that they're giving you free stuff. You didn't have to spend a dime on it, and you might as well just spend like 15, $20 on a few things, you know, if you can, just to give them support, because it's a big deal. I mean, like, you know, the 4 stores I mentioned are really about like the 4 or 5 that are within like a 10 to 15 mile radius of me. After that, I'm driving a distance just to find another cool store. And I'm sure other ones exist, but they just like, they don't really, either they don't promote themselves very well or whatever. So, or they are just so far out, it's not worth me Googling that far out. So, get to your comic book stores, you know, on a more regular basis if you can, and make sure you're like doing your best to try to keep them, you know, afloat, because it's not easy right now. So, yeah, so I bought some Star Wars books that were in a dollar bin that were like, that was part of the Free Comic Book Day special, was that they had some long boxes out of back issues that were $1 a piece. So I took advantage of that. And I have a brother-in-law that's a huge, huge Star Wars fan. So I got him some books, and next time I see him, I'm like, here you go. So there's that. And I didn't get a chance to get Greatest American Hero because I don't think I either overlooked it or it was completely wiped out, along with the Dungeon Crawler Carl. I've said that right the second time now. Yay. So yeah, that was another popular one because that one's a really goofy. At least the show was really goofy. I'm sure they're going to do the same way with the comic book, because how do you not? But the cover design, I mean, was spot on, capturing the and I don't even remember his name now, who played him, or the character's name. I used to watch it all the time when I was a kid too. A lot of comic books now are seeming to like really target the Gen X and the older millennials when it comes to like appealing to them, getting them back in the market, because they knew we were like the brand, like we were the buyers that kept the comic book creators pretty well stocked, in terms of like, we were the people that were like the big boom of buying comic books in the 80s and 90s. So I think they're like really trying to gear up for us, and also try to pass that down a lineage of people, you know, so like families and stuff. So yesterday, when I went to the other Comic City that was nearby, I picked up a couple other issues. I've been buying Youngblood, like the newer stuff that Rob's been putting out, just because he's just done such a damn good job promoting himself. And say what you want to say about Rob Liefeld, that's fine. I dig what he does. I grew up with his art style and his books, and the guy is a hustler. I mean, like, he's doing it all right now in terms of just making sure that he's putting himself out there. He's promoting his brand. He's doing a really good job with it. He's hitting us in the nostalgia area with stuff that he remembers and I remember, and then it like makes me think, man, I can relate to that. I'm going to go buy his books now. I want to support this guy. This is really cool. So, and he puts on an awesome live stream on Whatnot on eBay, and he, makes jokes and he's zangy and silly and fun and sings and dances or whatever. And then he sells you signatures and stuff on covers, and you can't almost turn them down. So I also got a couple things over the weekend from him. So that, and then I've not bought a lot of omnibuses before. I'd like to get more just to like not have to dig out my actual comic copies of individual issues to read stuff and not let them get destroyed doing so. So it's just a matter of having space and money and time. But I am kind of getting into I would have thought like my 10-year-old self would have said, oh, get all the omnibuses of X-Men that you can. But I am actually starting with the Amazing Spider-Man, and I just, I'm going to probably go back and forth, but I'm going to probably start with Amazing Spider-Man first and then kind of work my way into X-Men. I feel like I've got so much X-Men that I don't need the omnibuses right now. So there's a lot of like old back issue stuff of Amazing Spider-Man that to buy the back issues right now would just be kind of like, I mean, I can get them later in the road, but like just to read the adventures, I wanted to start from one sequentially up, and I was unfortunate to not find one. And the one on Amazon is like $80. I don't know why, but because I think I just actually saw it the other day at the other Comic City for like its retail price is like $40. So I went ahead and picked up the Epic Collection number 9, which is the post Gwen Stacy death run where it was Jerry Conway, R.I.P., who was still involved with the story, and basically it just kind of picks up right after Gwen Stacy, so it's like the next story arc. It starts off with like Cyclone and starts working from there, so some J. Jonah stuff in there, and I started reading that. I also went back and read part of my Spider-Man Superman crossover, and I got like through the first story and a half because there's like a couple little like different tales in there. So from what I read of it so far, it's really good. They did a really good job with nailing the look of Superman, kind of looking like Christopher Reeve's Superman in some frames. I mean, it's like really spot on. The artwork is phenomenal on that, and their connection, the way they are talking to each other and helping each other out, it's really fun. You get like very straight-laced Clark Kent Superman, and you get like goofy, zangy Peter Parker Spider-Man, and then like the whole book is kind of just trying to do as many little crossovers with as many characters as possible. But it's a fun read. I haven't gotten through the whole thing yet, but I'm still working on it, so I'm kind of like bouncing around right now, but I'm trying to complete as I go. So that was my weekend. I don't have very many other things to discuss, but it was just like May the 4th. I've been really chomping at the bit to play with my new intro, and redo my podcast from the last episode that was a little choppy in spots, but otherwise, yeah. And so there's some other things that were also in the mix. There's like some stuff that's going on. So there's the new season of X-Men 97 that's on the way, and I know that there's some stuff going on with the writing department because of all the Marvel stuff. But yeah, they've made some changes, and there's some people a little bit kind of worried how that's going to turn out down the road. But they've announced that there's going to be basically the X Factor, X Force. We're going to get like the blue gold teams in X-Men 97 and all that stuff. It's all going to be, it's almost going to be broken down to like the way it was in the 90s when they were starting to do all the uncanny X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor, and just kind of break it all up to the different teams. And the designs that I've seen of them are really good. The Cable looks spot on. I mean, the X-Force, and they've not done a bad job designing the characters of the 90s renditions that were from the books that I grew up with. So that's a plus. I've not even really gotten caught up with, I think I like caught the first 2 episodes of X-Men 97 when they put it on Disney Plus to kind of like launch it. And it was kind of like, okay, it's here. Here we go. I really liked the first 3 seasons, and then I just didn't really get caught up on it yet. So, yeah, but I mean, it's probably one of the few cartoons. I would say it's probably a lot of people will like try to rank what's popular right now, or like in general as a whole, like animated series wise. So, there's a big toss up. Is Invincible the greatest cartoon? Is Batman animated series the greatest cartoon? Is it Ultimate Spider-Man? Is it this? Is it that? And I would easily put, for the sake of capturing the element and the feel and the look and design of like late 80s, 90s X-Men, I would say the X-Men animated series is easily in the top 5 when it comes to animated series that are based on comic books. I mean, Batman animated series and Invincible, I think there's a toss-up there. I mean, you've got people that just don't like Invincible, so they're automatically going to say Batman, and there's just some people that are just like too diehard of Batman fans to really appreciate Invincible. Invincible is doing a really good job with leaving you on the edge. Like, it's done up like an actual show, and X-Men and Batman animated series were just kind of like you just caught them every Saturday and you just kept rolling with it. They kept churning it out and you didn't really pay attention to it. But this is kind of like that was when you were a kid. And so with Invincible, it's kind of like appealing. It's obviously an adult audience, but some kids are getting into it too somehow. So, yeah, that's kind of like the way things are played out. And I think Invincible, it is a little bit more, I don't know. It's done a really good job capturing emotions through the characters, and Batman. I mean, any other color like animated feature that's an action series, whatever. It doesn't try to emotionally entangle. It just wants you to see action, and they want you to see lasers and fighting and yada yada yada. Invincible is kind of a mix of everything, so that's where it's like it's just a matter of different strokes for different folks. You know, like, do you like that Invincible targets all different things going on with it, or do you just want just like action, zang, pow, and no, like, really? Batman had a good story. Batman animated series had a great storyline, but there were some really corny episodes in there too. Like the Christmas episode with Joker was really just like, okay, come on now. You know, for the time it was like kind of, I guess, groundbreaking, but it was also really corny. So I think the Invincible edges out Batman right now, the animated series. That's just a hot take. And then, I don't know, there's still other cartoons, animated features that are kind of like within that echelon, but I think X-Men did a good job taking some of the stories and kind of did a little bit of a revisionist history on them through like the modern times, using the 90s characters with the Khazar and, different things that was going on. The Brood and all those things. So, yeah. So I'm anxious to get that caught up. I am currently wrapping up my X-Men Adventures comic book run probably today. I haven't even opened up some packages yet, so I think that's complete as of today, or will be this week. And when that's done, I will probably post about it. So I hope that everybody has an awesome May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Remember, Revenge of the 5th. Revenge of the Sith. So it's Revenge of the 5th, right? Yeah, enjoy it. And until next time, we shall have another episode coming soon. So until then, here's my new outro.
Let's cut out of here.